It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast. On this, the 11th day of June, 2025, coming to you from my studio in Forest, Virginia, right outside of Lynchburg. The show is brought to you by the 2025 World Cruise on Crown Princess, by Will U.S., the owner of Scootaround, and by Chillie's Cruises. We have a few news stories this morning. We're, of course, going to have an update on World Cruise, day number 12, coming from our buddy Nate. Also, this morning, passengers banned. Windows shatters on Royal Caribbean ship. Panorama flips itinerary to avoid hurricane. And a weather update. Pride of America returns from dry dock. And a medical emergency on the Britania. And lots more live here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Corn on the Cob Day. I mean, I love corn on the cob. There's only one thing that I'm often reminded about. I'm going back probably 30 years ago. I had a friend from Germany. And we were sitting, I don't even remember where we were, but we were sitting in a restaurant someplace. I'm pretty sure I must have had barbecue. And they served a piece of corn on the cob with the barbecue. So I'm chowing down on it. And I said, what was his name? Peter. I said, what's the matter, Peter? Don't you eat corn on the cob? And he says, no. I refuse to eat what the farmers feed to pigs. Well, I don't care if the pigs like it too. I'm going to eat it because I like it. Corn on the cob. It's a little early for us to get it in season here. Of course, I don't go to the grocery stores like I used to, but it'll be, 6 weeks or so, maybe 8, before we start seeing locally grown. But, in another month or so, we'll start getting some as it moves up the East Coast, from Georgia and then the Carolinas, and then we get into Virginia's corn. All right, this day in history, folks. I had a little difficulty with this one, not because of the subject, because there were several things today, but I decided to go with this. This day in history, mainly because it's one of the probably 4 or 5 outstanding days in my life, as what it means not only to me, but to everyone. In 1963, President Kennedy addresses Americans proposing the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to end segregation. And of course, we all know how that eventually worked out. It was obviously has had issues, and still, in my opinion, I'm not making a political statement, folks. In my opinion, we still have race issues in this country that I would certainly like to see us rid of totally. And again, that's me. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat guy. We do this at least 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, depending on the news. So, not as much from Chillie's family this morning, but a couple things. This is our friend Emma. Emma is in Alesund, Norway, where she climbed Mount Axla. Could be pronouncing that all wrong. I have no idea. And then, Fraser has been on a couple times and has popped to our chat room several times. Matter of fact, he popped in yesterday just as I had already started the sign off, and he popped in. So, Fraser, if you should pop in today or watch it on replay, I'll say, hey, I did see you yesterday, but it was too late. Anyway, the reason I brought this up, he and his mom are back home from a cruise, but on his website, he has 4 different competitions that you can win a free cruise. I'll just point that out. So go to FraserAtSea.com and check it out. Maybe you'll win a free cruise from my buddy Fraser. If you do, hopefully you'll get to hear him talk. I just love Fraser's accent. And his mom's accent. I like the Scottish accent. It's just, to me, and maybe it's because I've got Scottish heritage, but it's just something about it. I just love it. All right. This was technically from Nate. This is something that I don't know if you can do it on all cruises, but it's worth finding out about. There's all kinds of times when we don't make it to the main dining room on a timely fashion if we've got a set time. Did you know you can go to the main dining room and order the dinner to go? I didn't. Oh, this is a mate that went to the dining room and got whatever that is, maybe a club sandwich, some kind of sandwich and fries and slaw and a Coke. And I'm guessing he took it up to his cabin. I just point that out, folks. If you're on a cruise and you want to do that, then do it. All right. We're up to day 12 on the World Cruise. And this is kind of pieced together due to 5 or 6 different posts from Nate. I've been able to get him solidly on a interview, but you'll see what I did. This is an update on day 12 of the World Cruise aboard Crown Princess. The Crown Princess was hit by awful weather once again between Adelaide and Perth, causing a delay in the arrival to Perth. From Nate, he said, "Bah! More waves, more storms to slow us down. These waves are definitely gnarly. We're now expected to get into Perth around 3 p.m. tomorrow, which means no Kawakas for me." Nate was planning on going to Rottnest Island on an excursion. At this point, the captain had not said whether they were going to stay the night in Perth or not.
Please ask any member of the ship's company. Please assure that your stateroom is and remains secure for sea, with all breakable and valuable items safely stored against any ship movement. Also be aware that all the decks, the majority of the decks, will be closed for your and our safety, so please respect those restrictions. Some services also, due to the heavy movement of the vessels, will be limited. Any internal areas on the higher decks will be closed for your own safety. However, I had a visit from the hotel general manager here, reassuring me that everything is okay around and the guests are really enjoying, at least some of you, this quite challenging experience. When around on the seating area, please avoid using high chairs, or if using, take extra care. As I said before, occasionally the most comfortable area will be your stateroom. So I would like to invite you to use this option as your preferred one in evening hours. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you also for the positive energy assisting me and my team on the bridge and a ship's company to go through this rough weather. If I don't see you this afternoon or evening, tomorrow morning definitely we'll have some experience to discuss about. Captain, bridge. Enjoyable evening.
That, of course, is from the captain of the Crown Princess. According to Nate, we had 8-meter swells last night, approximately 26 feet. They will get into Perth late and he will miss his tour. However, they are now overnighting and there is just enough time in the morning to go to Rottnest and see the Kawakas. I have not heard if that happened yet or not. This is many and leniency the sommeliers on the Crown Princess. The World Cruise gives guests the opportunity to learn about the wines of the world. Plenty of wine tastings on all segments to tease your palate and try new wines. Crown Princess World Cruise 2025. All right, so I do know that they got into Perth. That much I know. I don't know if Nate was able to get to whatever the name of that island is to see the Kawakas. Now, Kawakas are some kind of kin to a kangaroo. They have a little pouch. They carry their babies just like the kangaroos do. But to me, they look more like a little rat. But anyway, so Nate wanted to go see the Kawakas. I quite frankly didn't know what a Kawaka was. All right, so I'll be back with the rest of the news, folks, after this quick break from one of our wonderful network sponsors. What began as a relaxing afternoon on deck took a chaotic turn over the weekend when a fight broke out on board Carnival Cruise Line's Carnival Sunrise, shocking guests and prompting an immediate response from ship security. The incident occurred around 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, while the 2,984 passenger vessel was sailing a 4-day round-trip cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. Videos circulating on social media saw multiple passengers exchanging punches and throwing chairs as others screamed and scrambled to avoid the commotion. The altercation happened on the Lido deck near the pizzeria. Carnival security team quickly intervened to break up the fight while concerned guests look on. The cruise line enforces a strict zero-tolerance policy on onboard violence. Carnival has confirmed that those involved in the altercation have been permanently banned from sailing with the line again. This is one I got absolutely no problem with. I mean, if you're going to do something that stupid on a cruise ship, you don't deserve to get on one. I wish there was some way people like that could be banned everywhere, so we don't have to worry about running into the same jackass on another ship. But again, that's me. Passengers aboard Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas faced a startling incident on June 8th when a large window in the ship's coastal kitchen unexpectedly shattered. The event occurred as the ship was maneuvering to dock at its first scheduled port of call of Port Canaveral during a 7-night round-trip cruise from Cape Liberty in Bayonne, New Jersey. Guest accounts say the incident could have been worse if it were not for the quick actions of Symphony of the Seas waiter Nitin Kumar, who noticed cracks forming on the restaurant's glass wall and rushed to warn passengers lounging below in the pool deck. Kumar has been honored with the Hero Award for his brave actions that helped protect guests from serious harm. He quickly noticed the danger and ran to the nearby sun deck where guests were relaxing. He acted fast asking everyone to move away just moments before the gas shattered. Thanks to his quick thinking, no one was hurt. The situation unfolded so quickly that many guests didn't even realize what was happening until they heard the sound of glass hitting the deck. The glass panel was already replaced by the time the ship continued its itinerary to Nassau on June 9th. Are you planning on a trip to the land of the rising sun in the near future? Scootaround, powered by Will, is excited to announce that we now have mobility scooters and electric wheelchairs available for rent in select locations across Japan, including major tourist destinations like Tokyo. You can book online today or call Scootaround at 888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137 or call me at 434-258-9264 for a mobility scooter or power wheelchair in Japan. Passengers aboard Carnival Panorama are still on track to visit every scheduled destination on their 8-night Mexican Riviera cruise, just not in the original order. Carnival Cruise Line announced it is altering the itinerary for the 40,000 guest ship that departed Long Beach on June the 7th. The reason? The brand new formation of Hurricane Barbara and 2 developing storm systems in the Pacific. In partnership with our Fleet Center in Miami, we are actively monitoring Tropical Storm Barbara and another tropical system that have developed in the Pacific, Captain Carlo Chiarolo wrote in a letter to passengers aboard the ship. Given the track of both storms, we must modify our itinerary to remain a safe distance away, he continued. Despite the need to adjust course, the ship will maintain its original scheduled visit to Cabo San Lucas, La Paz, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. The latest from the National Hurricane Center, Barbara, which was once a hurricane, has now been downgraded to a post-tropical low and is expected to dissipate later today. Tropical storm Cosma, that never made it to hurricane status, has started weakening and is expected to become a post-tropical low later today. What we have to watch are the 2 systems following it. The one marked in red is showing a broad area of low pressure located several hundred miles south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec. Expected chance of development 20% over the next 48 hours, but 90% over the next 7 days. And the one in yellow is offshore of Central America. It's showing a 0% chance of development in the next 48 hours, but 20% over the next 7 days. So we've definitely got to keep our eye on the Pacific once again, as there's a lot of action out there with none in the Atlantic Basin. The Pride of America resumed service for Norwegian Cruise Line after undergoing a dry dock on the West Coast. After pausing its regular cruise operations in late April, the 2,100 guest ship returned to Honolulu on June 7th. The 2005-built vessel then welcomed guests back to resume its schedule of 7-night cruises in Hawaii. A medical emergency aboard P&O Cruises Britania prompted the ship to make an unscheduled arrival into the Cromarty Firth, Scotland on the evening of Sunday, June the 8th. The vessel was originally scheduled to arrive in the port of Invergordon on the morning of June the 9th. According to tracking data, the ship deviated from its itinerary and made a brief stop at the port of Nig around 6:45 p.m. local time, where the ill individual was reportedly transferred ashore for urgent medical care. Following disembarkation, Britania proceeded on a slow transit through Moray Firth before returning to Cromarty Firth and docking in Invergordon as originally planned. World Cruise 2025 on the Crown Princess. This is a segment that I would love to take. And yes, folks, there's still openings for this year. Sails August the 20th from New York to Sydney. 36 days at sea. This segment starts in New York City with stops in Miami, Cartagena, Colombia, full transit of the Panama Canal, a couple stops in Peru, and multiple islands in the Pacific. Fares start at $41.69 per person based on double occupancy. Sorry, folks, there's no good solo deals yet, but we'll monitor that situation. If you might be interested, give me a call, 434-258-9264 for the August 20th segment of the 2025 World Cruise. And that puts an end to the news portion of today's show. However, we've got to go see who's fussing at me over in the chat room. I haven't even had a chance to look at it today. Kenneth's with us up in Pennsylvania. Joanne's with us. Says, happy Wednesday. Mike's with us. Says, good morning to everybody. Good morning, Mike. Steve's with us out in Kentucky. There's Sunny down in Mississippi. Mike speaks to Kenneth and Joanne. There's Viv. Hi, Viv. I'm in the hospital. Wait. Uh-oh. I'm sorry to hear that, Viv. Hope you feel better quick. Viv's my buddy in Lowenstein. I forget the Lowenstein. Anyway, on the coast of England. And I went to visit her, and she's got the coolest scooter I've ever seen. Anyway, Viv, I hope you feel better quick. Everybody's speaking back and forth. There's Roger. Says, good morning from Jacksonville. Always good to have my buddy Roger with us. There's Bob. Have a great day. No rain for a couple days finally. Yeah, we've had some pretty nice weather here too. It's supposed to have rained a couple times and it just hasn't. It's been nice and hot. Yesterday was a bit windy. I do have a story to tell you about yesterday. And then I'll finish up real quickly. Most of you know I went to the periodontist. So I was at the dentist like 3 weeks ago. And, for the usual checkup and cleaning and stuff. Now I have a bridge, folks. It's been in there like 20 years or something. It's been there forever. So my dentist says, well, we need to start making a plan of what's going to happen if that bridge goes. I said, okay. So let's make a plan. He says, well, we need to bring Dr. Anderson in it too. Dr. Anderson's my periodontist. I said, okay. So they sent him a message and they got me in there to have a checkup and do some testing. And they do a lot of testing. And actually my mouth's in better shape than it's been in. Now I have a perio disease where I've had a lot of bone loss. But at this point, due to the treatments that I take for my mouth and all, my mouth is actually in better shape than it has been forever. But the day is coming when this bridge will just, go. So he says, okay. He says, there's a new procedure out. We're going to take a 3D image of your mouth. So they did a 3D scan, a little wand. They take it all through my mouth, every tooth up and down, and all this through my mouth, right? 3D. Okay. If my bridge breaks today, I call him and I say, okay, I need a new bridge. And he pulls up my my scan on the computer, and on a 3D printer makes a new bridge, and I'll have it in an hour. I was dumbfounded that that's even a possibility. And it's not that expensive. I'm thinking they're going to, slap me with $5,000 or something. It's like $500. But in no time, yeah, they have to do the things, whatever needs once the bridge goes. But then they put the new one right in. So I walk right out with a new bridge in my mouth. Then, 6 months down the road, if I'm comfortable with that, I keep it. If I'm not comfortable with it, they can make a permanent one and put it back in. I mean, that gets into more money. But at least that emergency thing is quick. Man, I on a 3D printer. I mean, that's what they make guns with, They make the guns on 3D printer. Well, they can also make teeth. I didn't know that. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Sonny says, I know what you mean. We get 2 days with no rain, then 3 days no rain, then downpour. We're having a new tropical season here. Yeah, just think, it's just starting, Sonny. Kenneth says, yeah, we've been getting 2 days of sun and a week and 5 days of rain. It's hard to cut the grass. That's what I did today. Okay, glad Kenneth is out cutting the grass. Todd's with us, says, good morning, everyone. John says, I wonder if Nate feels it more in an inside cabin. I don't know about Nate, and I've not been in the area where he's sailing, but I've been in some pretty healthy storms, and I do it in inside cabins most of the time, and I don't notice any different. Again, I don't mind an inside cabin. I've always looked at it that, an inside cabin, I miss the benefit of a balcony, but anymore in a wheelchair, it's harder and harder to get in and out of the room. So I don't really worry that much about a balcony. But the end of the bottom line is, in an inside cabin, I've never noticed the storms any worse than any other cabin. That's just me. So I don't know if it's bothering Nate more. I'll ask him next time, Joanne, if he feels it differently. It might be an individual setup too. Kenneth says, in reference to the Carnival story, that's why I start sailing with Carnival. Every day there's a fight. I don't know how you stop it, but they have to figure something out. I agree. I mean, it's awful, and it seems to be worse on Carnival than anything else. I think it's probably has to do with the liberalness of the drinks package, where people just drink way too much money. And I think it's because the damn things are so expensive. So somebody buys a drinks package, they think they got to drink that much more to get their money's worth. Jamin's with us. Good morning, Jamin. How you doing, my friend? So, all right, guys, that's going to put an end to today's show. I'll be back Friday. Hopefully, maybe this weekend I'll get out and do something, maybe something close. I am looking at the possibility of doing a Motown concert the last week in June. I've got a call about that today, which see what they have for handicap accessible seating. I've not been in the theater. It's where Jason and Katie went for a show that they were here, and I just kind of got interested in it to have something that's really nice here that I've never been to. So, might try that toward the end of the month. We'll see. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. And by the way, folks, if any of you are interested in that leg of the world cruise from New York to Sydney, call me. It's getting up kind of toward the end of the time frame so you can get everything done for that. But there's still some time. So give me a call, 434-258-9264. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. I'll see you on Friday if I don't see you tomorrow. All right, guys, have a great Wednesday and Thursday if I don't see you. And we'll see you next time for Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.